he had one like 1/1 line of Pokemon that gave him a little extra burst damage, and it was just like really awkward to see come up, but it was pretty cool that he decided to go with a route like that. So he could just be playing one of those new variants with a twist. It's kind of what I've put him on in my mind.
So it's so funny because you started saying all of this stuff before we knew what the deck lists were.
Yeah,
before we knew what the decks were. And, you know, go figure. It looks like you may actually be right. I can't wait to start see these players start to shuffle up. We do get to see Ian here on the left side of the screen. We see him take a nice deep breath after winning his first round of Swiss. And, of course, Naomi over here on the right, waiting to get the go-ahead to start this round 2 of action. Both players starting off at 1-0. Both players starting off with their deck of choice this weekend. Arceus Dialga Palkia with Zacian, the deck of the weekend, and it's going to be a mirror match between both players. Yes, sure. Yes, sir. Sure enough, Ian is playing the best deck, like you said.
I don't know if it's the best deck, but it is one of the better decks for sure.
Well,
it's one of the top decks. Absolutely, I'll go with that then. Yeah. So we do get to see the prize cards coming down for Ian.
We see Marnie. We see Jirachi. That's the first Marnie sighting of the weekend. We see a couple custom catchers though to go with that great catcher and of course that quick ball. Those 2 custom catchers, you really want to have access to them in the deck. You definitely don't want to see them, especially not in multiples in your prizes. Now we see a couple of professors' researches on Naomi's side to go with the Lysander Labs, a Switch, and a Guzman Hollow with the Aurora Energy. Aurora Energy, not what you want to see, but those Professor's Research is really what you don't want to see prized. Those are the consistency cards that you want to see in this deck, and to see them prized, especially in potentially later prizes, could mean a lot of consistency issues for Naomi to start this game 1. It looks like we see a handshake, which means players are about to flip over their Pokemon. There they are. We get to see a Jirachi and a Zacian, so it looks like both players are going to start to really formulate plans with the mirror in mind as we see a tag call here out of Ian to start the game off. Remember, Ian gets to go first, which means no supporters on this first turn of the game here for Ian. But guess what? Zacian doesn't quite need you to go second here, as it has such a great ability that it just allows you to catch up.
Yeah, he's a built-in Charon that likes to give you a metal energy every once in a while. It's pretty cool.
Not bad, right? Especially in this Arceus Dialga Palkia build.
Yep, so we will see both of these players most likely opting to go first in all of these situations. I just checked both the decks to see if they had energy switches in there, and I don't believe I saw any in either list. I'll have to confirm that later. But
a very quick first turn here out of Ian, as he does use his Intrepid Sword ability to end his turn. Did not get any additional metal energies from that Intrepid Sword, but he did attach a metal energy onto his Arceus Dialga Palkia tag team. So just aching to get that second energy into play and start really putting pressure on Naomi here. Now Naomi gets to go second, which means that she could get an explosive turn here, right? It's rare when it happens, but there are some very powerful turns out of this Zacian deck when it gets the right combination of cards.
Yeah, I'm honestly a little nervous for her because this isn't the spot that she wants to be in. You don't want to be eyeing your opponent with the Arceus Dialga Palkia and the energy already attached. You already know that you're going to be down a little bit. And it is hard to get those resources available. You kind of do need to take that extra turn with the Zacian and start to build up for yourself. So she certainly is down right now, but absolutely not out. It's obviously the beginning of the game. Would love to see an energy from her, though, and I don't know if it looks like she maybe has the one so far. So going to have to try to sort out, see if she can get a few more cards available for her.
Cynthia and Caitlin discarding a Mimikyu to draw 3 cards. Not the ideal turn 1 supporter, but it is a supporter at least. Now, there is an Arceus Dialga Palkia in hand here for Naomi. And we also see, I believe, a Rainbow Energy, right?
Yeah, Rainbow Energy is a pretty interesting inclusion. We've seen a lot of players eyeing the Aurora Energy, just taking that discard effect and saying, it's 10 damage isn't worth it. I'm going to need that. But she decided that that was a card that she wanted to include. It'd be really interesting if the damage output were changed on any of these attacks. Fortunately, it looks like just with the amount of hit points, we would have to see Ian playing one of those 10 damage amplifiers, and I don't know if he has those available.
So it seems like it may not be a dangerous call here for Naomi in this particular matchup, but that Rainbow Energy, just an interesting choice nonetheless, as we see Fiona now hit the bench. There we go, after that Absol, and now the Rainbow Energy onto the Arceus Dialga Palkia, and now Zacian Intrepid Sorting. Do we see any metal energies to attach onto? It seems like we do. There's one metal energy. So that's a pretty nice little acceleration right there as Naomi passes the turn over to Ian. Ian now gets to wake up with that Jirachi, and this could be a big turn for Ian if he's got the cards. The momentum could shift steadily into Ian's side here.
Yeah, and Naomi was able to find herself that Absol, but she wasn't able to find the Lysander lab that she played. I believe it is in the prize cards for her. So she wasn't able to lock out any switching from the Jirachi this turn if Ian were able to find himself the escape board. And that's really one of the big ticket items here. If Ian's able to find that, then he's obviously going to put himself in the best spot to get out of here. And it looks like he does have that energy available to him. Chooses to go with the big charm as well, so probably does have a way out of this spot.
So Ian now looking at the top 5, potentially getting another trainer card to add to the hand. But that was a nice little Guzma and Holic. Really provided Ian with a lot of options, and if he would have needed that escape board, he would have found it right there. So we feel like Ian's hand is going to be well sculpted to end the second turn. And sure enough, there's a switch, gets the Jirachi into the bench. Arceus gets a second energy. There it is. This could be the very first time that we really start to see a lot of pressure onto Naomi after that Altered Creation. GX is going to allow Ian Robb to take an additional prize card from here on out every time he knocks out a Pokemon. And of course, there's going to be 30 extra damage added on to every single attack from Ian Robb from this point on.
That's right. Get your calculators out because we're going to start doing math, boys and girls.
And now Naomi gets to start her second turn. What do you do? Can you match this aggression out of Ian? And more importantly, remember, from this point on, you're just going to be you're going to be one step behind, really. It's so important to go first in this matchup, I feel.
Yeah. This is a tricky spot for her. She does have some damage amplifying of her own with Shrine of Punishment. However, that would benefit Ian as the Arceus Dialga Palkia that's in the active spot would then be at that 260, which lines up perfectly for a Zacian.
Yeah,
so
I don't
don't want to do
that.
And the rest of her hand's kind of awkward. She could just use it to Dene and start to push through, but she's really kind of where she wants to be already. I think we're just going to see that GX attack, and we do.
2 Altered Creations, one after the other, and now GX attacks are gone. It's time to start swinging those haymakers as we see a third energy attached onto the first Arceus Dialga and Palkia tag team. Ian Robb will be able to get the first damage dealt and get more energy in play than he really needs for the remainder of the game, more than likely. Now Naomi is going to be a step behind, but not out, as we may see some potential crucial tech cards come into play for Naomi if she chooses to play them. Like, for example, maybe a Malo and Lana. That could be very important here for Naomi to really kind of equalize things and kind of put pressure back on Ian there.
Yeah, this is pretty terrifying for Naomi. She knows that Ian is going to be able to accelerate those energies onto his Zacian. He can certainly get those 3 medals right now and start to threaten to knock out any Pokemon that's on her side of the board. She also knows that with a really injured Arceus Dialga Palkia, 4 prize cards are pretty much within reach for Ian at any time that he is able to find Great Catcher or Double Custom Catcher. So she would love to take that damage off of the board, but just not sure if it's going to be too relevant, as all of the attacks that Ian has are humongous now with that amplifying damage.
There's 180 damage dealt, and that's 190 after the 1 damage that the Rainbow Energy dealt. So that's Ian now getting more energy into play, and more importantly, putting so much pressure on Naomi that, like, what does Naomi do here? Does she attach the 3rd energy onto this Arceus Dialga Palkia and just kind of allow it to get knocked out? Well, like, this is just a really tough spot, and it's all because she went second, really.
Yeah.
This is a matchup where going first is so important, and now Aurora energy could be there it is, the energy of choice. And Shrine of Punishment, adding to Dene. Shrine of Punishment now an interesting choice here, as there's already 190 damage on the Arceus Dialga Palkia, so you know it's going to get knocked out in 1 hit anyway. So maybe just start damaging your opponent's Arceus Dialga Palkia yourself.
Yep, she could choose to use her Fion. Maybe she could get some relevant damage onto a Zacian, but it might just be worth it to attack into the Arceus Dialga Palkia. Get that damage lined up. If your opponent does take 4 prizes here, then maybe you could target down one of the Zacian, the one that has the most energies on the following turn, take a knockout there, and then you can target down the Arceus Dialga Palkia to clean up the game. Because Arceus Dialga Palkia only maxes out at 180 damage, that doesn't knock out your Zacian, and then maybe you put Ian in a spot where he struggles to find those last couple energies for his Zacian to return a knockout.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that Naomi's key to victory might come down to things like reset, stamp, and just hope.
Yes.
You know, like just kind of, okay, I'm going to fall behind. There's nothing I can do about that. But at this point, like maybe I can just put my opponent in such a weird spot with their hand that I'm able to take a couple of uncontested knockouts at the very end of the match or at the end of the game. It seems like that may be a key to victory here for Naomi, as undoubtedly there's just going to be a huge knockout out of Ian, bringing himself down to 2 prizes remaining, and that's just nothing Naomi can do about this now.
Yeah, this is pretty awkward for her. She was thinking about using the Fion, gonna go ahead and use that, and we're gonna learn what Ian thinks is the best strategy here. Does he choose to give a Jirachi to her to give 2 prizes up? That does mean that and if that ADP were to fall later, it'd be a big knockout. But no, gonna go ahead and promote that Zacian, and we'll see if Naomi does have a way to knock out this Zacian. If she was able to find a Metal Saucer and then retreat, she would have a knockout, but instead just going to have to attack into this. And this is not the Pokemon that you want to just be placing damage into. You want to be taking knockouts when you attack a Zacian.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate there, as that's just going to be a knockout onto that Zacian for sure, but, or I'm sorry, not a knockout, but damage onto the Zacian, but then Zacian gets to reply with a knockout, and it's kind of going to be the same thing we said there, except for now Arceus Palkia is still going to be in play with only 1 damage on it after the Shrine of Punishment effect. So, I mean, I'm not sure. I really don't know which strategy may be the correct strategy, but one of them leads you with 4 prizes taken on at the end of your next turn, and this one does not.
Right. And this is a little trickier. It means that if she were able to knock out the Zacian, maybe she has to target down another Zacian to finish out the game. She doesn't have to go through that big charm, which would be nice. And that's why Ian's going to go, you know what, I'm going to make you go through this big charm. You're going to have to put 1 damage attack into this Arceus Palkia, and the fact that you had already placed so much damage on the Zacian is really going to be a detriment at this point.
Switch has been around since the beginning of the game, but it seems to be at its strongest, or at least one of its strongest formats right now, as this effect is just so powerful. And it seems to be like, yeah, Naomi just kind of scoops him up, does not have what it takes to defeat Ian this first game. And it was all due to Ian's just consistent start. Nothing special really happened there. Everything went according to plan, and I guess that's what going first means. If everything goes according to plan, in this particular matchup, going first means you get to win this match.
Yeah, and I mean, you have to give it up to Ian. Not only did he go first, but he also found exactly what he needed to do. He lined up so that he had the Guzma and Hala so that he could make sure that he had the turn 2 GX attack. But he put his opponent in awkward spots by placing that big charm early, by getting multiple Zacian and putting the energies on them in the way that he did. He promoted the Zacian that had multiple energies, which really made it awkward as well, because then that was a threat to continue attacking, and then he got to place energies, 3 energies onto a clean one after he used his Arceus Palkia. So although not much happened in the first like 3-4 turns of the game, it was massive the way that it ended up transitioning, and Naomi just knew, all right, there's no way to come back from one of these. Once he has enough energies on both Zacian, I can't come back.
That's when you know someone is really good at the game, right? Or really great at the game. When it seems like there was no effort in this game for me. But the reality is that he never really misplayed it. He just did everything exactly the way he was supposed to do. He never really left any openings for Naomi to really climb back out of that after that deficit. And Naomi spotted that. Naomi said, oh, man, there's literally nothing I can do. Like outside of even the reset stamp was not going to help her out.
Yeah, as soon as the energies got placed, and that just shows how great Naomi is as well. As soon as she saw that, she's like, okay, well, that window's completely shut, and I know how this game works. We've already used 12 minutes, and now I get to come in and I get to see. I know I'm going first at least one of these games, and if you miss one time, you slip up once. Yeah. If you don't turn that 90 into a 95 or a 99 like he did, as far as percentages go, if you don't close that door, I'm going to come right through.
This game, too, could be advantage Naomi, though, as, everything we've said about Ian really kind of plays the same way for Naomi in the second game.
Absolutely expect to see the exact same out of her.
Well, I have a little bit of a surprise there, as Fiona is the starting Pokemon there for Naomi. Not what you want to see, honestly. Not the ideal Pokemon. Hey, Jirachi's really where you want to be.
Top deck Jirachi's pretty cool.
There it is. Jirachi's where you want to be, and Jirachi is where she is now, as that Jirachi combined with the switch is going to allow Naomi to kind of just slow the pace of this game. Now, Zacian is really what you want to see at this point now from Naomi. You want to see her in the turn out with an Intrepid Sword.
Honestly, I think she's looking for Arceus Dialga Palkia right now.
Sure,
she has
sure.
the energies.
I apologize, but you're absolutely right. Both
Yeah.
Pokemon, including, of course, Zacian.
Right, it's just the way that her hand is lined up. You've got the right idea, though. She needs to get that energy attachment first and then use the Dedenne. Was not able to find Tag Call or a way to search through her deck with Quick Ball. Super unfortunate for her there with the Jirachi. And now she might have to lose a couple of these energies. Doesn't have Energy Switch, so doesn't want to play that energy on Fion later to push it around. I think she's just going to have to sacrifice these bad boys and hope she finds energy attachment.
So I saw one Aurora energy. Was there another like Rainbow or Aurora to pair
I
with it?
believe that she plays 2 Aurora and 1 Rainbow.
Oh, yes, but was there only one discarded?
Yeah, she has a medal in the discard as
Okay.
well, so. Oh, this is so unfortunate. Yeah, she found the Quick Ball, but she does not have access to an energy, so she's going to miss the attachment for the turn.
Which means you're probably going to go for Zacian there.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
try to catch up.
This is when you
Yeah.
go, okay, I need to draw 3 cards.
And potentially get lucky with a couple of metal energies or something like that. It's not unheard of. That's a way for you to kind of climb out of that unlucky start there for Naomi, as, you know, having to use that Dedenne, not the end of the world. That's what Dead A change is there for. You know, you kind of want to have it on your first turn of the game if necessary. And sure enough, that's what she did. But it didn't help. The Jirachi didn't help. The Dedenne didn't help.
Yeah.
These cards did not provide her with the cards that, you know, that Ian had access to on the first turn of the game.
This completely negated any effect that any benefit that she got for going first.
And that is the end of Naomi's turn, and she doesn't even find a metal energy out of that Intrepid Sword. So that is 3 more cards drawn, so that could help her elevate the consistency from the second turn on. But now every advantage we were talking about, everything we said about going first, really out the window, as Naomi's hand just did not deliver at all. And there's that tag call that we saw in the first turn of the game here for Ian. That is this is consistency in action here.
It's absolutely nuts. Yeah, the last card on the Jirachi Stellar was that tag call, which finds him the Arceus Dialga Palkia, and most likely the Guzman Hala. That'll provide him almost guaranteed turn 2 GX attack, and then he's just in an amazing spot.
Yeah, so, I mean, granted, we have no Arceus Dialga Palkia here for Naomi, but if you can get an Altered Creation GX for either of these players, that player is going to be ahead. And most of the time it's going to be Naomi because she goes first. But now if Ian can get an Altered Creation GX right now, or even set himself up for a future one on the next turn, then it's going to be nearly insurmountable for Naomi. We've seen this happen game 1. We know how it plays out. And there's Aurora energy already there. Do we see the dream get lived out? Do we see that metal saucer with an energy switch?
Man, yeah, he just found multiple saucers as well as a great supporter to follow along after the Guzman Hala. This is exactly where Ian wants to be. Certainly he is going to be able to find his way out of the active spot with Guzman Hala soon, so we should see that Ultra Creation GX come down, and now it's really up to Naomi. She does have the Metal Saucer of her own, so she could get at least 1 energy accelerated on the board. However, it won't land with Arceus Dialga Palkia using its GX attack for any benefit.
Yeah, there's a lot of roughness coming here. There's the Metal Saucer that attaches the metal onto the Zacian. I'm looking for a way for Naomi to kind of like make up for the lost ground in turn 1. I'm honestly looking for it. I'm looking through this deck list. I'm hoping like maybe there's an energy switch in the deck list where we could see a very explosive turn combined with Metal Saucers and stuff like that, but I don't see it. Like there's no comeback potential right now, and this unfortunate start from Naomi may just spell disaster in the second game, as now Naomi just forced to kind of just attach a second energy manually onto this Zacian, and that could be it for the turn after we see Jirachi find another trainer card here.
Yep, and she did find the tag call, but maybe she just thinks she's so far behind that energy attachment was important to her to get onto the Zacian. She wants to have some sort of damage output to come through, but I really think you do need that Arceus Dialga Palkia. Even if you are going to attack into some damage, maybe your opponent just has a hard time finding great catchers or custom catchers, and you'll be able to use that GX attack, get punched really hard in the face, and then just hide for the rest of the game.
Yeah. And there's another Intrepid Sword. A great ability on the first turn of the game, not so great on the second. Finds a metal energy, so that is going to be all 3 metals required for the attack from Naomi, but there's no altered creation this game at all from Naomi. Naomi's kind of just said, all right, I fully expect that I won't be able to do that at all this match or this game, so let's play with that in mind, as that is the end of Naomi's turn. Ian now plays that Guzma and Hala. This is very reminiscent of Ian's first game, which he won handily.
Doesn't need a Oranguru this time.
That new Oranguru, by the way.
Yeah, Oranguru's a pretty great card, but could be a liability. Just give yourself, give your opponent an option of 2 easy prize cards to take if they were able to get Ultra Creation. But that's, of course, in a typical game where your opponent does get to use their GX attack, and unfortunately Naomi just hasn't been able to get in that spot.
This could be a quick 2-0 victory here for Ian if Naomi can't find a way to climb back. This is just, you know, when Ian went first, he had everything going for him. Nothing, no stumbles. This is just, you know, everything went smoothly as expected. When Naomi went first, everything was out the window. Nothing worked out. Dedenne had to come down and draw additional cards and provide another liability Pokemon, but it did not provide the cards necessary. Naomi started with Fiona as the active Pokemon. Like there was a lot of really rough waters here for Naomi to start the second game, and now Ian just hoping to be able to make the comeback, complete the comeback there.
Oh, he even finds the lab. That's pretty cool as well. So it doesn't have to worry about Naomi finding that massive damage output. So going to go ahead and shut off his own charm. It's not terribly relevant right now, but maybe you do limit what your opponent is able to do. You could lock that Zacian in the active spot. If it could get a little more difficult afterwards. And if she did want to use that Jirachi and retreat out now, she is going to have to find another effect, another stadium card.
And that's Altered Creation GX used for Ian Robb. That's, you know, it may not have been, you know, going first or anything like that, but there's no pressure at all from Naomi right now, with the exception of course, that Zacian sitting in the wing. But the problem is it doesn't have that Altered Creation GX damage boost yet, right? So we're not going to be seeing knockouts here. We're not going to be seeing this huge Haymaker versus Haymaker. We're going to be seeing Haymaker versus, like, stiff jab.
Yeah, this is the David and Goliath for sure. We can see even one Metal Saucer just puts Ian in a spot where Zacian is able to knock out Naomi's Zacian, take an extra prize card, really just completely limit anything that she's able to do from this point on in the game. It could just be another dominating performance from Ian, and really just not much that Naomi's able to do about it. She's still fighting to work her way through. Maybe she does have another way through. She does have that Shrine of Punishment, of course, so we'll be able to counter the stadium and get a relevant attack off. But will it be enough?
Oh, man. So there's already 10 damage on Arceus Palkia. If you start adding up the Shrine of Punishment, maybe you can put yourself in a position where you win if your opponent can't counter like the Shrine of Punishment. That could be one of the routes to victory, right? Like, but that seems to be wishful thinking.
Yeah, I mean, well, realistically, you're going to be 230, so 240. You're talking about what, 3 turns in between of Shrine, and we could honestly see Ian close out the game in 3 turns even if he wasn't able to find a Shrine, because he could take Zacian 3 prize knockout followed by Zacian 3 prize knockout if he had switching effect plus Great Catcher. So he could just win the game before any Shrine damage was relevant enough to take out the Arceus Palkia.
Well, there's that Shrine. That's kind of an interesting little tech. There's a Vitality Band out of Naomi.
Yeah, I really think she needs as much damage as possible on here. That is going to be the way that she would work this in. Maybe there's a turn where she could get enough damage amplified by the Shrine onto the Arceus Palkia, then use Lysander Lab, shut off the big charm, and take a sneaky knockout that way. But she did use a lot of her stadium cards early in the game and did have to do some discarding as well. So curious to see if she does have any of those left.
So you combine all of the damage, and it looks to be like you're at 260 damage dealt total?
It's math o'clock, yeah.
Yeah, 260 total damage is on Arceus Palkia at the end of that exchange, combining Vitality Band, Shrine of Punishment, and all that good stuff. So Stellar Wish could be the start of choice here for Ian, as, of course, Arceus Palkia may not want to be in the active spot any longer, kind of wants to prevent your opponent from taking a smooth 3 prizes there, but maybe you just kind of sacrifice it in present yourself with enough attackers to finish off the game. Your opponent doesn't have Altered Creation GX. They're not going to be taking additional prizes. Maybe you're just comfortable winning that exchange.
We'll have to see. This looks like Ian is going to take the Fion for himself. I think he's just trying to thin out a little bit more. Maybe he's going to use that tag call again, take a little bit more out of his deck. Maybe he could find himself one more Stadium card to limit the Shrine damage. If he was able to find Lysander Lab this turn, he wouldn't knock himself out, and he'd also be able to counter that damage. I think we have seen both Shrines from Naomi, so he would know that his Arceus Palkia is safe. I don't think he was able to find that there for himself, though, so we are going to see Shrine damage start to compound.
And here's the thing, too, is like if the Shrine damage starts to get to the point where it gets past, you know, the total hit points for Arceus Palkia, then you shut off the Big Charm. That could be a big turn for Naomi.
I don't know if she has the stadiums to do it, but yeah, it would have been pretty wild.
Yeah, she might not actually play Lysander Labs, but I think she
has the one, but I think it's in her discard already.
Yeah, so she does play the Lysander Labs, and it may already be discarded. If it's not, though, that could be huge. And now Ian choosing to attack with Zacian there. Ian now takes 3 prizes, just a smooth 3 prizes. We see the power of Zacian. Just all the energy, all of that hard work from Naomi, just struggling this entire second game. Just so unfortunate, really, because it felt like it was going to be, you know, a potentially mirror image of game 1 where now Naomi would just take a big lead, but instead her deck just did not deliver. And it could just be a 2-0 victory out of Ian if Ian can just find a way to close this off. But if you see Ian's field, like Ian has the Zacian with no damage on it. Naomi does not have the boost of Altered Creation. And there's still an Arceus Palkia sitting there. Like, yeah, it's taking additional damage from Shrine Punishment. That's never a good feeling. But, I mean, this is not an uncomfortable spot at all if you're Ian.
I think Naomi needed to find Reset Stamp this turn. She wants to knock out the Zacian in the active with her own Zacian. If she's able to find Reset here, maybe? Yeah, it looks like she found it right there. That's perfect.
That could be a big Reset Stamp. That could be one of the few ways Naomi can climb right back into this game.
Yeah, she
huge Reset Stamp there.
She needs Ian to miss energy and the Great Catcher or the double custom effect on that Dedenne. Right now, Ian does have the game lined up for him if he was able to find an energy so that he could attack with his Arceus Palkia, just easily knock out that Dedenne. Doesn't have the energies or the damage output right now to knock out the Zacian that's currently going to be in the active spot.
But it looks to see like an Absol here too.
Yeah, that would be another great card to line up. Of course, we do know that Ian would have access to that Jirachi following this, so it does have that escape board there. Could start to look for a couple extra cards. So Ian's still in a pretty good spot. It's not like if a Lysander Lab were to come down this turn, that would have been absolutely insane.
So yeah, huge turn here for Naomi as she found a way to at least keep herself in the game. But can Ian close this game out? It seems to be that the door is still a little open here for Ian to just close the game out without any real downside. Now, quick ball here for Ian. Remember, oh man, I really wish I would have seen something like
he does have that Dedenne there for him. All right, that was the big key that I was looking to see if he had. With the way that his hand works right now, it doesn't have a lot of big effect cards to help himself out. Is going to be able to use that Reset Stamp, but this Dedenne is going to be looking for either a Great Catcher or an Energy in combination, and then we'll have the Jirachi to follow up as well. Hasn't also played a supporter for the turn, so big chance here for Ian to close this out.
Vitality Band attached to Zacian, and there is the Dede changing. Do we see the energy? We see an energy. We don't see a switch yet.
He would be also able to take this if he was able to find multiple saucers. He does have one in hand right now.
See one saucer.
If he finds another with his Jirachi, he could close it out as well.
The card combinations are there. Do we have them in hand, though? There's a metal saucer, one energy attached.
Yep.
Energy in hand, energy attached onto the ADP. And Research drawing 7 new cards.
Yep, thinks that he has more Great Catchers in deck or double custom
There's double
effects.
custom catcher. That is going to be the game as the Dedenne gets promoted after that double custom catcher, and Ian Robb is going to win game 2. That's going to be a 2-0 victory for Ian Robb against Naomi here. Naomi Murn unfortunately did not get anything going for her in the second game and just fell too far behind in game 1 to create any type of obstacle here for Ian.
Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty incredible game, the way that she, even with no GX attack, Naomi still put herself in a really great spot. If she had access to one more Lysander Lab, or maybe didn't have to lose that so early in the game, that swing turn would have been